we're living in a time when these echo chambers allow people to have a sense of reality that is completely built by the echo chamber and reinforced by the echo chamber. And I think that messaging, which is something, you see a lot of people talking about now on Twitter with defund the police and slogans, they really work and they're very powerful in this day and age, right? What I call the Kardashian era, where you have a confluence of an echo chamber meeting an America that is less educated. And I don't mean in terms of not everybody has PhDs.
Right.
What I mean is at this particular juncture, this particular period in America, our public education isn't what it used to be just 20, 30 years ago. The ability, I think, for people to do critical thinking, critical analysis, reasoning, logic has dissipated over the years. And I think that I'm not sure which came first. Is it the chicken or the egg? But when you have a country that will exalt people who have no substance, who have no expertise, again, like the Kardashians, and you have less of importance being paid to intellect, studying, knowledge. It's why you see the response of COVID-19 the way it is, where you literally have this president and so many people saying, I don't care, the scientists don't know more than I do. That's a consequence of where we are right now in America, where substance and fact and proven, facts no longer carry the weight that it used to. And so as a result, I think as a country, we have moved into this place, which I think is really dangerous, where it's easy for someone to be convinced of something that actually isn't fact. Right. And I don't know where we go from there as a country. I don't know if you can convince someone that Joe Biden, of all people, is a socialist. I don't know how to dissuade that person, because no one of all the candidates who ran for president on the Democratic primary, no one was more of a centrist than Joe Biden. And on top of that, you had a 40-year record of Joe Biden to review to see that he was not a socialist, and he was far from it. So that, I think, is really what's the most frightening thing happening in America right now.
No, Midwin, you nailed it, because there are some conversations that come up, and if they have to come up, you're going to say, okay, how do I even talk to you? You shouldn't even be asking this. This shouldn't even be a thought in your brain.
Yeah,
I mean, I
just don't get it. And you can't convince them otherwise, despite the fact that there are tons of evidence, tons of factual evidence. And I don't know where we go from there. I mean, there are a lot of things that I don't want to believe, but they are true. I don't want to believe that Idris Elba married somebody else, but it's true.
Because he was your man. He was your man.
In my head, that was my boo. And he married somebody else. And I may not want to believe it, but it's true. You see what I'm saying? So I don't know where we go from here as a country. If you have an entire large segment of the population believing one thing, that isn't true.
Right. That's saying the sky is hot pink when it's clearly blue. That's where I kind of just, my brain, everything shuts down, because I'm like, how can I have the conversation? Now it's time to heal. Now it's time to do this. How can I heal with somebody who believes that? I can't have somebody in my life, in my circle, who is that wildly illogical. Because where are we going to find any kind of common ground? And why do I have to do the work to find common ground with you if you literally think that Joe Biden, out of all people, is a socialist? It's just, whoa.
But also, why is it that we are asking to have common ground with people, to find common ground with people who, when they disagree, think that the best way to deal with that is to storm a state capitol building
with AR-15s?
where is the request for those people to unify and to sit at the table and to talk? I'd love to,
Right.
but their way of dealing with something is to have a 17-year-old gun get an AR-15, cross state line, and kill two people in Kenosha, Wisconsin.
And you know the other
So
thing too.
we need to talk about that. Yeah,
It's true.
I just don't understand
And you know
that.
this
That's
kind of
their
ties.
way of dealing with problems.
Yeah, and this kind of ties it back to what you're saying about privilege. And I know folks are really tired of that word. But
Hmm.
if you were having a conversation with somebody and you are in a space of privilege, that
Hmm.
kind of means you got to listen. So, me as a man, when I'm talking to women about sexism, I just want to shut up and listen because I know that I don't experience sexism because I'm not a woman, right? I don't experience it in
Right,
that way.
right.
So I just got to shut
Hmm.
up and listen for a minute. Like, okay, wait a minute. I don't know this experience. Let me hear you. Versus saying, that's not true. Why would you say that? That doesn't make any sense. You're being too sensitive. You're being too politically correct. No, I'm just going to sit back and listen. That's what I should
Right.
do. You know, when LGBT folks are talking to straight folks, sometimes you just got to sit back and listen because you don't know
Yeah.
what it's like to be an LGBT person. Like, okay, wait a minute.
Right.
You're not experiencing homophobia or transphobia.
Yeah.
When poor folks or folks who don't have that much money are talking to rich folks got to listen. I hate when rich people tell poor people how to live. You don't know what that's like. So sometimes,
Yeah.
not most of the time, when a black folks are telling white folks what's going on as far as racism in this country, you got to be that person that's going to sit back and listen because you may not be able to understand because you've been programmed to not understand.